Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to Mirror Interpretation Todorova. I'm trying this new mic, Vano. I don't know how it works. So we're gonna record this video with this mic that's gonna be right near me over here. Okay, guys. First of all, my name is Ioana, and I'm an interpreter. And thank you for coming to my YouTube channel. I do Bulgarian, Italian, Russian, Macedonian, and English. And today I want to create this video. I've been preparing this video for quite a lot of months. A lot of research is done here. I noticed that when I openly interview people about their culture, a lot of people are not aware because they're not aware about other cultures, first of all, and they're not aware and they don't understand quite well my questions talking about cultural differences and cultural awareness. And so I decided to create this video will be called Culture in Uzbekistan. I was particularly fascinated by Uzbekistan because in Uzbekistan they do speak Russian. So they speak Russian because it's an ex-Soviet country. The capital is named Tashkent. This is how it's pronounced. And 11 million of people do speak Russian. So I have my statistic here. I just checked this today. So this is very accurate. They do speak Dungan, Erzia, Korgomar, Kazakh, Kyrgyz, Tajik, Tatar, and Southern Uzbek, which is some kind of a slang of a regional language of Uzbekistan, which is Uzbek language. The religion is Muslim. They call it so-called Sunni Muslim. 76% are Muslims. There is 0.08% of Russian Orthodox, 18% non-religious, and about 5% or 4.9 are other religion. I'm gonna talk about some things that I find very interesting in this culture, and once you hear the entire video that I prepare, you can understand how these cultural differences can apply in your interpreting sessions and why it's good to know them in general. I don't know if you know, guys, this was one of the facts that fascinated me a lot. I don't know if you know, but in China, they don't say no. There is such a culture that it's very difficult for Asian person to say directly no to you. And I find a similarity here. I will put the graphic of the map to understand that Uzbekistan is between Tajikistan, Azerbaijan, and so on. You're gonna see it here to understand a little bit how the Asian culture can influence each other, or geographically how countries and culture get influenced. So in Asian cultures, they don't say no directly. So here in Uzbekistan, same thing, they have a word that it's called hop. Hop, it's a word that we have also in Bulgaria, which is very strange, but part of the Tatars from Uzbekistan and Mongolians were traveling on horses, and and if we look back in the history, this explains why also in Bulgaria we have hop. So hop in Bulgarian culture is something like done, like easy, okay? So in the Uzbekistan culture, in Uzbek language, the word is sakrash, which means in Russian, ladna хорошо, or in English, okay, all right, okay, done. That could be the different translation or language interpretation, but the meaning of the word hope, it have a little bit profounder meaning. This is a polite word to say yes to something, to show an agreement to something that you may not agree. but it's like a peaceful word that soften and make things easy, or like is polite way to show to someone that you agree, even though you may not agree, and even though you may not proceed with certain promises that you give using this word hope. But it's like a calming word, making the environment like polite and friendly for everyone. Let's call it like that. This is a polite word, hope, peaceful word to agree. Um, Another second thing that I find very funny and very interesting that I also could see in my country, even though I am from Eastern Europe, I am from Bulgaria, I could see it in a very low register in the small villages, in the mountains, or far away from the city where people doesn't have education, people doesn't have much things that they do. There is this same cultural thing that also they have in Uzbekistan. And when you meet people, to ask them a bunch of questions, and what this means, not just ask them, hey, how are you, or you ask them a private questions, like questions about their personal matters. This is something that is also like cultural gossip, I would say, is some kind of a must. And if you go to a small village in my country, to be asked like these questions is kind of invasive. I felt always invaded, invasion of your privacy, and they ask you a bunch of questions about your mother, your father, your parents. My parents were divorced, so asking questions is considered polite. And what type of questions are those? And also, you must answer those questions not to offend the person, because when a person asks you a bunch of questions, this is cultural thing. This is like polite, like showing care, showing that you are well mannered, and these kind of things. So how are you, how is your work, how is your husband, how is your marriage, how is your personal business, how is your neighbors, basically. And you gotta give like very detailed answers of these questions. And there is one thing that I noticed looking bunch of interviews with people from Uzbekistan. They all try to, they have this fake smile. You gotta smile, everything is good, everything is, they have this fake positivity, because it's a very male chauvinist country. And when I say that, I mean it on the extreme. And it's considered rude if you don't smile, and if you don't show well-being, and if you don't show that you're happy. And smile is this fake smiling everywhere is considered normal. Even if you're not feeling to smile, you have to smile. Same thing in my country. While I was growing up, I noticed that I have to smile, otherwise I was severely judged by society. And I grew up in a very small place. So like the fake positivitism, and even talking about very personal, very uncomfortable things, you still gotta smile and pretend that everything is okay, because people love smiling people. If you don't smile, it's bad. So when I'm talking about male chauvinist country, they have, I saw a lot of interviews, or quite few, because there is not many women interviewed there, but the ones that were interviewed from the outside, they have this phrase, and I'm gonna read it exactly as I hear it in few interviews, which says, "Главное не упасть в глаза мужчина," which literally means the most important is not to fall down in the eyes of a man, which means that the main opinion is so superior, and you gotta thrive and work hard to have a good opinion of a man. And to be honest with you, a lot of those ladies doesn't realize their personal choice to submit and put the males above. But let's go to the next very scandalous things. The main function in a life of a woman is to get married. Yes, there is this cult toward marriage, because there is nothing else that a woman want or desire or um, have any attempts to go towards but marriage. The marriage is a cult, and when a child is born, you can imagine when a child is born, they start to save money for the marriage to make a big, it's like a tradition. The moment that you remember, I do remember in my country as well, my grandma will make something called cheese. And cheese, it's normally this it's also Turkish word, and there's another word called yorgan, which is these covers that a lady will receive, like things that go with a girl, like a gift, including some cherry wine that they do when the girl is married. When the girl is born, they make this wine from cherries, and when you get married, you and the husband cheer with this type of wine. So same thing in my country, they prepare you to get married. My father was completely against it, but my grandma had this thing. And so the same thing in my culture, even though it's not Muslim, in the places, in the smaller places, or you could see this cultural thing. I mean, of course, now in my country it's completely faded away, but I do remember my grandma having these fantasies about the tradition of the marriage. Mm, the other thing, talking about marriage and about cultural differences, which probably wouldn't be surprise for you because we're talking about a Muslim country, and they say that it's very extreme Muslim country, but I think in some things it's pretty open. The girls have to be virgin. This is obligatory. I did watch several Uzbek marriages in different environment, and in the small villages this is must. So the whole thing about the marriage, to be seen in this big dress and make a lot of like noise for your marriage, a lot of music, loud, so everybody will know, because marrying your child is considered a status, social status, and success, especially if it's loud, if the dress is bigger and huge. If you see these fashion designers that come from Arab Emirs or any kind of Muslim country, you're gonna see a lot of shine colors, the huge dresses, and the reason why is because the dress of the bride represent this social status and success. There is a huge role of the parents. The gender discrimination is huge, but let's start with this parents' role, especially the mother of the groom. It's a person that have a fundamental role in her son's life because she is the one that choose the bride. She must like the bride, she must give the blessing, and so on. And further on, you're gonna understand why. Because when a girl marries in Uzbekistan, uh, she is transferred to the family, to the husband. The parents of the girl, instead, they also have a similar role. They are trying to understand who is the groom. They ask the neighbors, they ask what he does, what kind of a car, where he has a house. Like, bec- literally, it's all about the money, unfortunately. So, the money means prosperity, and prosperity means social status. And every family wanna marry their daughter to a rich or a guy that have a higher social status, which means a guy that have more money. So, how the family, how this marriage thing happen? The parents of the groom present themselves in the girl's parents' house and say, hello, we are here to svatvaetsa. Svatvaetsa is a Russian word which literally means we are looking to get married to your daughter. And normally these first appointments include where the Broom family will present their wealth. We say we have this house, this type of car, and our son is this, and that, and we want to marry your daughter. This is where also formally the groom and the future wife meet. They meet in the girl's parents' house in front of the parents, and this is basically the future husband and wives meet very few times before they married. Very few, I mean 4 or 5 times. The exchange is very traditional also in my country, but this is all tradition, but it's still like very to be hospital, which means to bring a gift, and normally this include food, meat, something delicious to your host family, and they also when you leave they give you something back. This is very traditional to give, to exchange food. So after they meet for a few times, and the parents ask the neighbors of the future groom what type of person they are. This is the process of svatbetsa, which normally lasts between 1 and 2, 3 weeks maximum. After this, so-called the future husband or a groom give a golden jewelry to the future bride. So normally, if the girl had the blessing from her parents, and clearly the guy, before he even go to Svatvetse to propose, he had the blessing of the mother. The girl, if she accepts this gift, it means that they are engaged. Or this is called, I have the word here, it's called pamalovka, which is exactly the official status of being engaged and getting ready for the marriage. Normally, the husband and the wife have met 3 or 4 times. It doesn't mean it's once a week. It's not like at the same period, but it's prorated at the time. And they typically meet with the intention to go to the marriage. So Pamalovka is the engagement already. Again, they exchange food and sweets, and so exchanging of the foods and all of this thing of a heavy table is again status. It's again which means that you're rich. This is your desired. In my country, one of the food that is considered status is meat. Guess what? I'm vegetarian, so I am not a very good bride candidate because of that. So the marriage itself, it's equilibrium to social status and success. This is like the top of what you can desire as a lady. And the women's have duties, and these duties start with early childhood education. And there is a different stages of duties, but I'm gonna talk about this girls' education. And this is include certain duties that they have to do once they married and they move to the husband's family. Uh, from the morning, the woman have to get up early in the morning before the man. Clearly, normally the time it says it's 5 in the morning. I don't know. I should follow my thing, but I don't. So when she wake up in the morning, the woman have to sweep the house and wash it and sweep outside the door. Like they have these front yards, typical in Bulgarian too, and throw water. In my country, we do have certain traditions. At school, we throw water or wine. You also sweep and you throw the water and wine and says to have lucky day, or your day go by water, which mean your day to go easy. So for Uzbekistan women or girls, they have to do this every morning. I think this is a beautiful tradition, honestly. um, and this is the number one thing. When we talk about being extremely male chauvinist, now you can understand what I mean. When a man entering in the room is considered good, great manners, and must for a woman to get up on their feet to show respect. The number two things that each woman should know is that the man is the boss. And the girls are educated from very young age that they are lower than the men, always a step lower. The woman must obey to a man and remember that she's always one step below the man. And a woman that have this clear in her head is considered to be a good woman, a good girl. She gotta get that very clear. So once the woman gets married, she moves to the husband's home and she have obligations there, or so-called duties. A woman duties after marriages. So the first one was to get up at 5 and swipe, as I said. And clearly she must wear makeup before the man to do this tradition. You understand that she's lower than him, so she gotta do it. Number 2, the new marriage girl that moved to her husband's family cannot communicate with her own parents, mother, or a relative. Normally, they allow them to talk once a month, but a lot of the times, not at all, because it's against the traditions. The reason why is because she now have a new mother, which is the mother of her husband, and she have to listen and to obey to this lady, basically. Sometimes they say they allow it, but the matter of the fact, this is not normal to talk with your family after the marriage. You have new family and you gotta follow their rules. You're not okay to talk to your mother. Must be always with a smile. I noticed that smiling for Uzbek culture is something big. It means that you're a good woman. You gotta smile all the time. Oh yeah, I'm so grateful. My ex-husband, I watched an interview for a lady that the husband was drinking and beating her until she ended up in the hospital. And she said, this is so beautiful. I'm so grateful. I want you to understand that the abuse that these women receive in their adult life are something that they get prepared and trained as a child, that whatever happened, you gotta show that you're smiling, that you're happy, that you're well-being, and so on. I didn't like this about this culture. It's really scary to me. But the new bride cannot visit her parents. If she want to do, she have to ask permission from her new mother-in-law, or like the parents of the husband, and they have to agree. They have to agree to allow her to see her own mother. So if she tries to go back to her mother for some reason, normally biological mothers kick the daughters back to the new family because tradition says that she gotta stay there and serve them and follow her obligations. So the new wife, it's so-called kilinka. So she have these new obligations in the house of her husband, and these obligations are full-time from the morning to night to meet guests and whatever come in the house. And this happened in very strict tradition. I will talk about this now, what exactly mean kilinka. Kilinka is the new married lady or girl that just moved to the husband house, and she have this special way that she have to, I'm looking for the right word, but she have to basically, let's start with this rule, to incline or bend forward in a specific way, which start at the marriage itself, that she have to incline in certain way in front of the guests, in front of the new parents, in front of the new family, some kind of a reverence to show respect. So number one, she have to stay. Every time that someone is announced that will come or come, she gotta go to the main door and make these inclines about 5 to 6 times to the guest. This is to show that she is grateful for being accepted as a new wed, as a new wife. And so she will incline like this quietly uh, to the guest to show respect. Then the guests are put it in the guest room. She have to serve a tea and bring them and food. Clearly, tea, food, sweets. This is the traditional thing with the food. So she have to serve them a tea. There is a special tradition, like in Asian and Japanese culture, the women have to serve the tea. There is a special way that she have to come out of the room. She cannot turn with her back. There is a special size that she have to serve and how she have to serve the tea to be considered in good manner and for her to be considered a good woman. Everything gotta be done in the correct way. This is the number 2. The number 3 duty, she have to clean the house of her husband parents, clean after her husband brothers, relatives, whoever live in this house, clean, make laundry, and cook. She gotta organize everything. That's her duties as a new wed, no? Cooking and cleaning include, and all of these home aid activities that she's obliged to do, she have to do with smile, obeying to her new parents. And if you're lucky and you get in a good family, actually you get help from your stepmother. These duties, she have to do this for every person that come in the house, and there's a lot of people, neighbors that come and so on in this culture unannounced. uh 5 to 6 months you gotta stay at home full time. Normally a lot of people stay all their life if you are in modern family, because there is a lot of contradiction now in Uzbekistan because of the social media. Some of these social media they do actually have, compared to China does not allow Facebook. They don't have social media, it's forbidden by the government. In Uzbekistan, they do have a social media which clearly bring different cultural influences in Uzbekistan. So if the family is modern, the new wed, she do this whole process of cultural duties at least 6 months to a year. If she want to work, she have to ask permission from her husband and his mother, father, uh, relative, his family. They have to allow her to do. A lot of people that are from the capital, which is Tashkent, they say, "Oh yeah, we're so modern." Yes, they will allow her to work. The matter of the fact is that in Muslim culture, if a man allowed a woman to work, is considered shame, is considered failure, because in this culture the gender role are specifically separate, and the men have to provide. And new wed woman to go to work is considered shameful. But let's say that we are in Tashkent, and in Tashkent they say that you can work if you want to. You can ask for permission and you can do some female work in somewhere, correct? They allow you to work, but by the rules, the money that you're gonna earn, your stepmother or the mother of your husband take them from you, or your husband, basically. That's and the bride must obey. You must obey to these rules. Hmm? Very, very interesting. Let's talk. So this is the role of so-called Kilinka, the new wed woman. Let's talk now about kids. So now we're talking about kids, okay? And the like in my country as well, like a good family back then in all time was considered family that have like a lot of kids. A lot mean 7 to 10. This was considered like normal, and also have in mind that in the past times a lot of kids used to die because of different disease. So kids, Let's talk about kids. How many kids is appropriate? Well, back then was 7 to 10, but have in mind a lot of kids died in an early age. So it was kind of normal to have a lot of kids. Same in my country, you know, leprosy, different disease. The medicine was not as developed. Right now, 3, 4, 5, 6 kids is considered success. Many kids, it's mean blessing, prosperity, and it's like God loves you, no? But it's desired to have a boy. If you have a boy, everybody's happy. It makes out of you a good wife. The society says bravo to you, and the husband. So the woman is a good wife, and she have to be a good wife. The husband, it's a man. This is a manly thing. This is considered something as a husband being a man, or how to say that. A husband is considered like successful, or a man, a real man, because he have a boy, he can have a son, right? The girls are not as happy, or they're not desired to be happy, because uh, the girls go to the husband's houses to clean and take care of things. They leave the house and they take the husband's family name. So in order to prolong your family name, you have to have a boy, because the boys apply, or how to say, not apply, but in a lot of cultures, also in my country, you take the husband's second name when you get married, right? So if you are you have a boy, if you have a son as a wife, you're considered successful wife. If you don't have children, it's bad, you're considered failure, something is wrong with you. There is a severe pressure from the society, so kids are a must. Also, the husband can throw the wife and beat her if they don't have kids. So the husband can kick the women away and leave them for some reason. The women can not. Dress code. I know a lot of people from Muslim countries try to look modern, and they try to accept American culture and so on. Well, the truth is that if you go to Uzbekistan, and also if you go to Turkey, which is very close to Bulgaria, or if you go to Turkish villages in Bulgaria, the dress code is very conservative. Women have to cover the head. Yes, in Bulgaria they don't cover it with hijab or burqa, but they cover it with a scarf. There is a specific way that you cover it. You gotta cover all the hair, everything. So you must have hijab. In a lot of Muslim, they said it's not obligatory, but the society see you as a good woman if you wear the hijab. It's bad if you don't. And if you wear a t-shirt and a shorts, you're seen as a prostitute, unfortunately. If you walk on the street, you're gonna see a lot of men whistle, scream, beep beep with a car. The reason why is because you're considered easy, because you show your body, and this means that you desire men's. Unfortunately, this is what really scares me in a Muslim culture, is that if it's warm and you wear something like that, you considerably prejudged by the culture in this manner. So t-shirts, and I'm not even talking about décolleté, we're just talking about t-shirts up to here where your hands are visible. This is not okay. Okay, we're gonna talk a little bit about taboos now, because I know that a lot of cultures, just because it's taboo, they are not okay to talk about certain things, and they are not even aware of this. And I'm just still trying to fix my angulation of my camera. It's very bad that I do this while I'm recording this video. Forgive me. Okay, taboo talks. Alcohol. I did read the Quran. There is a version of the Quran that is in Russian language, and I will tell you that the Quran is very similar to the Bible. I was able to read the full Quran. I can admit I'm 37. I haven't read the entire Bible yet. Shame on me. At least the New Testament, the huger version of it, the smaller version, yes, I have read. So, alcohol. Alcohol is taboo. A lot of people in Tashkent, they want to show that they're modern, they want to show that they are in one step with the fashion, but I will tell you that there is no alcohol. It's considered scandalous, and you cannot see social media pictures with alcohol because you're going to be socially judged, severely judged about it. So it's a shame. It's against the Quran because the Quran is against alcohol. But to be honest with you, if you do read the Quran, there is a logical explanation why Muhammad, that he was in the desert, and he was a person that drink actually quite a lot, and he was having a very amoral lifestyle before he became this saint, as they call it. He was drinking alcohol in the desert. You cannot imagine what it means to your heart and your pressure and your physical condition when it's 40-45 degrees of heat to take a shot of alcohol. This is extremely dangerous and unhealthy, and the Quran applied to countries like Egypt, where the Ramadan is gonna fail to the hottest month of the year. If you doesn't know what Ramadan is 40 days fasting, spiritual and physical cleansing. In Muslim culture there is a similar thing in Hindu, in all the religions, I believe. So during the Ramadan, people do not put anything in their mouth from the moment that the sun rises to the moment that sun set. Well, if you don't know, in the desert is very, very hot during this sunrise period. And so Ramadan is period where people eat before the sunrise and after the sunset. It's not like they don't eat nothing. They don't put nothing in the mouth during the day. There is exceptions if you work or travel, you can skip Ramadan. But logically, not having alcohol makes sense physically in these countries. And number two, because of the heat, having Ramadan in the hottest period of the year also make a lot of sense. Anyway, taboo to alcohol. No alcohol is not considered good. You cannot bring disease. Yes, a lot of people, men, do drink. They do drink, but it's not something that they gonna openly talk about or bring disease or have a picture with it. It's considered shame. It's considered bad. It's severely judged. Divorce. Let's talk about divorce. Divorce in a Muslim culture, it's taboo. You cannot talk about divorce. This doesn't mean that people doesn't separate. It's bad if you talk, especially if you're a woman, you're considered bad woman. In their culture, it's normal that the man can beat you and kick you out for whatever reason he decides, but a woman have to obey. She gotta be a good woman, right? So if the woman is kicked out by the husband for some reason and she gets back to her parents' house, which is bad, first of all, it's shame. It's not desired because they have to support her financially. It's food, and they still have these basic things about the food there. Poverty, food, these type of things, you know. So if the girl is kicked by husband and she go back to the parents' house, which is rarely, she's under severe control, like something like a home arrest. And if she does have a children, she's considered shame, useless, and nobody will take her with the children. She's not necessary to nobody. And if she's lucky enough to get asked to marry second time, A lot of times the children from the first marriage are left to the parents, which mean the grandfathers, and she go to the new husband alone. The same process that we repeat again. I want to talk a little bit about domestic violence here because this is also a taboo. This is something that doesn't exist in Uzbekistan. Doesn't exist as something that you can talk about, but exists as a normality. So, a woman must obey. This I hope you understand. Men that hit women, slap them, is considered normal. Women are treated somewhat like a domestic slaves and a puppets. She have to obey. Husbands do beat women. This is normal for them. Cheating is normal, and full control over her, it's normal. If the husband is severely aggressive to woman, beat her a lot of time, and she decide to go back to her parents, the response will be, you have to support this. This is normal. They will not take her back. She have to stay with the husband that beat her and mistreat her and try to be better wife. This is traditions. She have to obey. She have nowhere to go. The parents will not let her at the house. They will send her back to her husband family. She gotta go back and try harder. She have nowhere to go, basically. That's the truth. So the family sent her back to her abusive husband, and this is normal there. If you get kicked by the husband, which is considered normal, it's considered shameful to ask money from your own parents after you are divorced or separated. But none of these women are taught, or like they don't have formal education how to do money. They don't speak bunch of languages. They don't have master degrees. It's like you are the shame of the family. The word is pozor. This word exists also in Bulgarian. In Bulgarian also is another word, sram. It's a huge shame. Shame for your family. You're like a shame for the society. Everybody will talk about it. She couldn't keep a man happy. She is wrong. Something is wrong with this woman. Very, very, very shameful. Society also pressure you, and a lot of people from society do not talk to divorced women because they are considered cursed, bad, failure, severe judgment. Like they couldn't stand. A lot of people stand abuse as normality there, okay? So another thing that I find very, I noticed that about 16 years ago, I was dating a Muslim guy, Muhammad, for about 2 years. And there is another taboo talk for Muslim culture, and in this case, we talk about Uzbekistan. It's gay or transgender. Transgenders, they are in complete denial. They say we don't have gays, we don't have transgenders, this doesn't exist. This only for sick countries or sick cultures. So there is absolutely like no transgender communication or talks, or it's just like haram. This come also from Palestinian word I know from my friend from Palestine. Said that I just want to check if I forget something about the taboos. The women have to obey the food things, alcohol, divorce. We talk about the domestic violence, that is normal to receive it, and you cannot go back. The transgenders, and something that a lot of people doesn't recognize from these cultures, dancing is a taboo. And so how is this? I'm gonna talk slightly about the marriage itself, like the celebration of the marriage. They have few traditions that are very funny, that are similar to my country, the older traditions in my country. uh, there is these dances, and I also see this in some countries in Ethiopia. They have this dance that is exactly like this. This is how the dance look like. So if you go to these marriages, you if you want to see people dancing, that's gonna be the most you could see normally men's dance. uh, so let's talk a little bit how the marriage start. Once they agree on a date and the whole tradition, the bride and everything is beautiful. um, the husband family, or the husband, the groom, will go with the music, with musicians. This same in my country happen, you can laugh. They will go with music to the bride's house, walking on feet, playing, and all the village gotta hear them. They're gonna play traditional music, and everybody knows that he's going to take the bride. In my country, this tradition to pick the bride is including with the different traditions that the future groom have to purchase the bride. Some of them put the money in the shoes of the bride, some of them under the door. There is a different traditions also in Russian culture where you have to pay for the bride. The same thing here, when the groom show up, he pay for the bride, basically kind of purchase it. Then in my country they have a drink. In Uzbekistan they don't drink. They will share a meal during which family member of the wife, future wife, is gonna give the future groom to sip a tea from a special cup. Tea is also considered, like this tea ceremony is kind of a considered as a welcoming him in the part of this family or this clan or this uh, traditions. So the tea, sipping of the tea is like welcoming him to take the bride. Then they will have a food, and then different traditions using so-called Zoroastrianism. I'm pronouncing probably bad this word, forgive me. There is this cult toward the fire. In my country, there is different traditions with the fire as well. Walking or jumping the fire, which I did when I was younger, and this means you're gonna have a boy when you get pregnant. Here they have a special tradition with Zoroastrianism where the bride will be taken near a fire where she have to lean forward in four directions of the earth to pure herself from how they call it, from negative or evil energy. So here also same thing happened in Hindu, by the way, that you have this thing that you touch the fire to clean yourself. There is very interesting traditions with the fire though, but only the lady have to pure herself. Again, we're talking about misogynist culture here. So the lady, one of the traditions that they do is to bring her to pure herself. She gotta go around the fire several times and make this bit forward, and that's beautiful, no, she clear herself. So then another interesting tradition that some do with candles in the home, where they take the girl from, they make this paravan from cotton something, and they do light broom and bright with fire candles. I see some marriages now use this flashlight because they don't want to burn the place, but the fire to have a light life, something like that. And clearly all this is connected with music and dancing. The tea, of course, and then there is a special place where the marriage or the ceremony happen, when they invite the relatives of the husband, the relative of the wife, and their friends, the two family friends basically. traditional thing is to give to the broom bread, which mean that they gonna bread is mean prosperity. Similar in my culture, you break the bread and you have a bite from it. It's a funny traditions, but in this tradition is all about the man's, and when the whole ceremony finish, the congratulations go to the man. The woman gotta stay still and modesty for the entire process. Dancing also, I notice in a lot of marriages there is gender separation, tables for men and tables for ladies. uh, the men's can dance like this with hands. Only very old ladies like grandma I saw dancing, or very young children. For girls or women, it's not okay to dance. Absolutely amoral to dance in front of other people. This is like a social thing. You're judged, you're considered a shame for your family. Uh, and so basically, after the marriage, there is this walk to show everybody that the bride is married. A small walk in the village where everybody would see and eventually dream uh, for this uh, for this marriage, or like how to say, for this to be successful and be able to marry, and have such a type of dress and look in certain way. So in whole this culture that I just discussed today, you see that women are educated to to serve to serve their husband, but not only to serve their husband, they're not allowed to have opinion. They're not allowed. They are not normally bread makers. They don't have education to do things. And if some of them have some success or something like that, is because of their families that allow them. There are some medial lady that I watched interview with her, that she openly talk about it, and this considered very bad, but she still tried to be a good Muslim and fit into this frame of her society, because of it. So said that, this is all that I find very fascinating, very shocking also about Uzbekistan culture. And as you understand, this is a very different culture from USA, from European culture in other places. And this may be useful for you when you work as an interpreter for people that come from Uzbekistan, with Uzbek language, or with Russian, or Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajik, Tatar, or Southern Uzbek languages. I do hope that this video was interesting for you, shocking as it was shocking for me, and also fascinating. Thank you for being here. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. I hope you have a great day. Bye bye.